friends of the show. We are back with another episode of the Ferris Wheel Serious Rock Talk podcast.
Oh, all right.
A big thanks for your emails, suggestions, and your support on our social media platforms. Continue to email us at seriousrocktalk@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Listen to a new show every week. Just tune in each Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. New York City time on Cap City Beats, located at www.capcitybeats.ca. Okay, buckle up for some serious rock talk. All right, to the left of me,
Yes.
a man who did numerous guest appearances on the show Alice and became friends with Vic Tayback.
Sounds like a Dennis Miller routine. Like, oh yeah, okay, you're right. You're absolutely right, Dr. Ian Clarke.
And the man to the left of me who idolized Schneider on One Day at a Time.
Oh my God, Stephen Wheeler.
How are you, gentlemen?
Not too bad.
Never
I was
been
also
better,
the buddy
man.
double for Alf.
Body double for Al.
All these terrible, terrible shows. Okay.
But you didn't like Alice?
Oh, please kill me.
Okay, how about One Day at a Time?
Get out of my sight. before I
Dynamite!
get- Kid Dynamite.
I like that. Dynamite was good. I like that one.
Yeah, everybody liked that guy.
All right, so today, actually, Clarke, you're the one that's taking the reins.
Yeah, well, good, because I have something important to talk about.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, baby. I don't know why, man. I just got to move. Folks, I'm going to start this bit hot. No warm-up, no leading you to my point of view, just a gut punch. Why? Because if this guy needs an introduction, if this guy's someone you barely know, I want you to admit right now your complete failure as a human being. Here we go. There are three leading icons of 20th century pop music. In my mind, it's not debatable, knowing that, yes, everything's debatable. The three icons, Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, and the Beatles. Not a lot of close seconds. A weird combination of talent and timing and looks made them into these icons. It's both simple and complex. Today, this morning, this evening, and whenever you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to rattle on about the middle icon, the guy that bridges Sinatra to the Beatles, kind of. And that's Elvis Aaron Presley, 1935, 1977.
So they say.
Yeah, he could be an institution with James Dean, man. Dean didn't die either, man.
I hate these stupid conspiracies. Oh, I'm so... Shut up. He passed.
Really?
Let the man rest.
Just do some volunteer work. Get busy.
Yeah, seriously.
Because so much has been written, recorded, and rumored about Elvis Presley, developing a unique perspective demands a somewhat personal consideration. So that's where I'm going. The first Elvis fan I met who was my age was named Dean. Probably still is. In fact, he had seen... God bless Dean. In fact, he had seen Elvis live in 1977. He was a little guy in a concert in Rochester. His mom took him. Not long after, Elvis died, and Dean didn't come to school for a few days, which I couldn't believe. He's so upset, the poor guy.
So Dean was responsible for Elvis's death. Is that
Wait a
what you're
second,
telling
baby.
me?
Wait a second, man. I really don't want to go there.
Blue Hawaii was a horrible movie.
Oh, name me a good one.
Well, the first one, the
Jailhouse Rock.
yeah.
Everyone goes
I'm just
back.
going with... Because you told me, like, it was okay. Like, it was a B movie. You said.
I always go to Clam Bake. No.
They were good, Ian. Is that what you're saying?
You can make the songs up in a second. Roll the head on the Clam Bake. And they're all the same. One extended movie.
Well, you watched him for the women, not for Elvis, really. Watched him for Anne Margaret or
I know,
for
it's-
even Craig.
Anyway, I didn't get Elvis's popularity. He belonged to a different time, 1950s. Ducktail haircuts, bopping at the high school hop. We were into Jeff Beck and Pink Floyd and Electric Light Orchestra. Elvis Presley? No. And then I happened to see a replay of the so-called 1968 television comeback special. And then I understood. Then I got it. It was electrifying. The charisma, the voice, the sexuality, the attitude, the whole package. As a famous rock critic said at the time, he's doing this on 3 chords? They couldn't believe it. We were just like smothered under complex music, and this guy comes out with basically 3 chords.
And gyrating hips, which he wasn't allowed to show on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Well, he didn't do that, man. Not in the comeback special. And then I began to look into this recently deceased entertainer known as Elvis the Pelvis and the King of Rock and Roll. and there was a lot to look into. So I sit here today still puzzling over Elvis Presley, whose estate still earns $30 million a year, and he died in 1977. I think an effective way to look at Elvis is to look at the elements that made him who he was. First, he was born poor. Southern U.S., 1935, during the Depression. He was an only child. His mother took him to Pentecostal church. He heard the hymns and he fell in love. That's the key to unlocking the mystery of Elvis Presley. He was essentially a gospel singer.
He wasn't a twin?
Well, he was stillborn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I guess technically no. But that's the key. But it only opens one door. So we have the general circumstances of his birth, the geography, important the geography, and the first musical influence. Next, Elvis graduated from Humes High School in 1953 in Memphis. And later that summer, he walked into the Memphis recording service, put it on Sun Records, to record his first song as a present for his mother. And that's the next big influence. His mother, Gladys. If ever there was a mama's boy, it was Elvis. In fact, he was teased about it in school. Those two kept each other going through a lot of rough times. Elvis' father went to prison for, I think, check forging a few checks or something. It was ridiculous. So they really hung on to each other. It's been said it was the only woman he really loved. So who knows?
That sounds like Anthony Perkins' Psycho.
Well, it's different.
No, I know.
No, those guys, it was different.
So his mom was Gladys Knight and the Pips. That was
No, God, give me strength to carry on. Hear me, O Lord, from thy dwelling place. No. Okay, so Elvis went off into the army, and his mother, she started to drink. She became an alcoholic, damaged her liver. And in 1958, while Elvis's career was going up sky high, and he was starting to appear in his films, and he was drafted into the U.S. Army, and off he went to Germany. Shortly after, she was diagnosed with hepatitis. Her condition worsened rather, and she died in August of '58. Elvis would die 19 years later, almost to the day. Next factor, influences. I've mentioned the pervasive role of the church. Elvis once said all he ever wanted to do was be a great gospel singer. No mention of rock and roll. So we have the church and what they used to call hillbilly music. This is before they called it country music. He listened to people like Hank Williams, Jimmy Rogers, Hank Snow, Bill Monroe, Gene Autry. And he began singing those country songs with kind of a gospel flavoring. And yes, he loved Dean Martin. Another kind of way to look at Elvis Presley is a version of Dean Martin. Everybody loves somebody sometime. So next, rock and roll. No, Elvis didn't invent rock and roll. He never claimed he did. And by the way, he never called himself the King. You can't give yourself a nickname like The Edge. It has to come. it has to effing come organically. I think I'll call myself The Edge.
Are you sure he gave himself that name?
Yes.
Okay. I can't find it anywhere.
Yeah, so did Bono.
Vox. It was Bono Vox.
Bono Vox. We'll just stick with Paul Hewitt. That's a good name.
Yeah, it's not a bad
You
one.
can't give yourself it. Anyway, he was. I'll call myself The Edge. No, you won't.
I think for you, it's like in your mind you visualize Wile E. Coyote giving his business card, Wile E. Coyote genius.
Yeah, that's good.
And for the record, listeners, Ian is not a big fan of U2, so it just adds more fuel to the fire.
It's really true. Bono jetting around on a private jet pretty well for environmental causes. If you can't see the goddamn irony in that, yeah, pull the Lear jet down here. I'll talk to the local people. Yeah, you should all recycle your dishwater. I gotta go. I mean, jeez.
He's burning $80,000 of fuel.
Yeah, pulling over here in the helicopter. I'll throw down some stuff for the maid. I'm out of here. So, anyway, no, he didn't invent rock and roll, but he mixed it up. So you got country, you got gospel, and that was his sound. And it never really changed. The most widely held belief is the first rock and roll record was 1951's Rocket 88, which I have, written by Ike Turner. Yeah, that Ike Turner. So Elvis would have been around 16 when he heard it, which he likely did, or he might have heard the New Orleans singer, a guy named Roy Brown. And he had the song Good Rockin' Tonight, which was the first record to pun on the gospel term rockin', if you know what I mean. So we have the birth of rock and roll in the American South, combination of blues, country, country and western rather, and gospel. What else? Electric instruments. Guys like Les Paul were starting back then. A lot of people were using electric guitars. Rock and roll obviously uses a lot of electric guitars, so sales of electric guitars took off. Next, and importantly, Elvis's looks. He was the first rock singer who truly resembled or had a natural physical harmony with his music. It wasn't Bill Haley, it wasn't Carl Perkins, it was Elvis. Total fluke. He had the face, the hair, the moves, the attitude, even his lip had attitude. These gifts came from above. Frank Sinatra looked like the songs he sang, and there was a strong visual element to him. So did the Beatles. Without the look, you will never make it over the fence. This is something I discussed in the previous podcast when I referred to Jim Morrison and the Doors. So why did Elvis make so many movies, most of which are horrible? Not because of his standing strengths as a thespian. It was his looks. That's it. Women loved Sinatra. They screamed for Elvis. And they certainly wept openly for the Beatles. Check out the 68 comeback special. It's all over YouTube. You'll see what I mean. Next up, talent. There were and are a lot of good-looking singers who really can't sing. I can think of 30 of them right now. They don't know a flat from a sharp. But Elvis Presley really could sing. He was the real thing. Gospel, rock, ballads. There wasn't much he couldn't do. Good vocal range, great timing, strong phrasing. He had it all right to the bitter end. Look at his influence. How's this? Elvis Presley is the biggest selling solo artist of all time. All time. Look it up. When you have that kind of power, you have immense influence. Why does there continue to be so many Elvis tribute artists? I myself have been to a number of Elvis festivals. Why do they exist? Because he really was that good, that important to people's lives. Keep in mind, he died in 1977, which in pop music is like talking about the Renaissance. There is no other artist that inspires that kind of reaction. And by the way, if you want to learn more about Elvis, I highly recommend a biography written by Peter Goralnik. It's the best bio of any entertainer that I've ever read, and I've read a lot. And it won a National Book Award, which is almost unheard of for that type of subject matter. Finally, legacy. Why did Paul Simon write about Graceland, Elvis's home and eventual gravesite? What was he getting at? It's this. Elvis is Americana. He joined folklore. He is solidly, if not spiritually, embedded in the cultural fabric of our everyday lives. There's a strange mythic quality to him. It started not long after his death. People had a tough time accepting that Elvis Presley could die at age 42, just like that. Gone, baby, gone. I mentioned earlier that Elvis, together with Sinatra and the Beatles, represented the most influential musicians of the 20th century. Here's something else. In Americana, there exist 4 people who are cultural immortals. An unpredictable maelstrom in the space-time continuum put them together in paintings, in posters, in articles. They are Humphrey Bogart, Marilyn Monroe, James Dean, and Elvis Presley. You will see their faces everywhere promoting everything. Last year, Marilyn Monroe's estate made $8 million. She died in 1962. So Elvis is firmly cemented in the pop cultural zeitgeist. Look at all the virtual Elvis tours that are always going on. A virtual Elvis even appeared in the Blade Runner sequel, and that's set in the future. What about the film Baz Luhrmann's Elvis? It's never going to stop, nor should it. Real things never really die. So folks, I go back now walking down a sun-dappled memory lane, whistling Are You Lonesome Tonight to meet my always young buddy, Dean, the first guy I knew who was hip to Elvis, when all the rest of us were just trying to be cool. Because of Dean, I discovered years later that Elvis never really left the building. This is Ian Clarke, and you're listening to the Ferris Wheel Serious Rock Talk podcast.
That's one hell of a story. Holy
It
shit.
is.
Yeah, there you go. There's Dean.
I love the fact, though, that we're in Canada here, we're the only quote-unquote foreign country he ever played in.
I know.
I mean, unless you count some
Legally.
West German
Legally,
bars here and there during
yeah.
his army service, but
That's because he's with
Colonel
Sanders
Parker,
there.
Colonel Sanders.
I know.
Colonel Tom Parker. Was he even a real colonel in the
Nope.
army?
No, he's Dutch. He was a
And he was a draft dodger, right? He just kind of
he's dodged everything, including taxes.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
I need to talk to him about that.
It might be a little hard right now, but he did
Well,
well.
strong smelling salts and a good shovel.
Yeah, really, he did well for Elvis, though. In the end, he did. You know what I mean? He did go for Elvis.
But I love the fact that the four untouchables of 20th century American cultures that you mentioned, Presley,
Humphrey.
Humphrey
Bogart.
Humphrey Bogart. They were all, except for one, drug addicts. Humphrey Bogart was a drunk.
Yeah, that's true.
And there is talk now that apparently he shot up
Really?
something. Well, it's the 30s in Hollywood. You're never quite sure.
Oh, sure.
Well, exactly.
Who knows?
Marilyn Monroe, probably
that's
pills.
sad.
And Elvis, Lord knows what in the 70s.
He was a pharmaceutical. Yeah,
he was worse
guy.
than Glenn Gould.
Yeah, he was a. I don't know what James Dean.
You know, penicillin. They were saying something with penicillin.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know.
that can only mean for one thing. Ouch.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Nope. Anyway, that's listen, folks. That's obviously is a mammoth subject, but I hope that primed the pump a bit. Find out more about Elvis Presley. He's
Just
hip
avoid the
again.
movies.
Yeah, he's hit mode. Don't avoid the movies. Are You Lonesome Tonight and maybe Jailhouse Rock. Everything else is but the 60s.
And avoid that picture of him with Nixon.
Yeah, that was bizarre. In fact, they made a movie about that.
Yeah, what's his name? The guy who played in The Evil Dead, I think.
Campbell?
Yeah, Campbell. I think Bruce Campbell does Elvis in that one.
Really?
I think. I know he did it in another movie called Bubba Tep.
Yeah, that's a great movie. It's so goofy.
Oh, it's just insane. But it goes to show it, like you said, Elvis never dies. Because in that movie, he plays Elvis as Elvis that escaped into a senior's home with John F. Kennedy, who's now a black man, played by Ossie Davis.
Yeah, you're right.
It's insane. Like,
and there's another one. Who did it? It was Harvey Keitel played Elvis.
Yes.
And it's believable. After he's such a good actor, after a while you go, this guy was in Scorsese's Mean Streets, and he's now walking around. It's not quite doing an Elvis impression, but kind of talking a little bit. So, and he okay, and he pulls it off.
Yeah.
It was a Nicolas Cage movie, Leaving Las Vegas.
Vegas, yeah, that's
And then it was the one with Kevin Costner and Kurt Russell, 30,000 Miles to Graceland.
Well, Kurt Russell was in an Elvis movie.
Welcome to Clarke Comments. Shut up and buckle up as the good doctor kicks out the jams and offers a selection of questionable, disturbed opinions that are somehow related to popular music.
Anyway, today I'm talking about the magical year of 1969. It's an observation, a reflection, if you will.
Oh, now I'm intrigued.
First off, there's a definition of the word serendipity. I've always loved the word, but it's kind of like a magical little word. The occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. The property of being lucky. Keep that in mind as I discuss the subject. Rarely does a time period, in this case a year, encapsulate so much great rock music. There's never been a year like 1969. I challenge you out there in podcast land to come up with one and send it to our email address, and I will personally respond with a photo of myself. Not kidding.
A naked photo of Ian.
I enter into evidence albums of 1969. I'm going to talk right through that, not necessarily about sales, so please spare us the sales. These are just some of the albums from 1969 you might have heard of. The Beatles, Abbey Road. Led Zeppelin, 2 albums, 1 and 2. The Stones, Let It Bleed. Something from The Who called Tommy. Leonard Cohen, Songs from a Room. Jackson 5. Diana Ross presents the Jackson 5, so I guess they were kind of skimming off the Supreme's popularity. Creedence Clearwater Revival, what a year they had. Green River. Neil Young with Crazy Horse. Everyone knows This Is Nowhere. The Band with the album of the same name. Bob Dylan, Nashville Skyline. CCR, Willie and the Poor Boys. Joni Mitchell did Clouds. The Doors, Soft Parade. Crosby, Stills and Nash. Album same name. In the Court of the Crimson King from King Crimson. Hot Buttered Soul, great album. Isaac Hayes, Dusty in Memphis, Dusty Springfield, her best album. Kick Out the Jams, MC5. The Stooges, Iggy Pop's first album. From Elvis in Memphis, great album. Chicago Transit Authority by the group Chicago is their first album. Blood, Sweat and Tears, their first album. Santana, first album. The Gilded Palace of Sin by the Flying Burrito Brothers, which was Graham Parsons. The Velvet Underground, with an album of the same name. 5 Leaves Left, Nick Drake. All the Allman Brothers. The Kinks did Arthur. Like it keeps going. The Threshold of a Dream, The Moody Blues, Stand Up from Jethro Tull, Blind Faith, first album, Bayou Country, CCR. I don't know what was going on with John Fogerty in 1969, but it's pretty amazing. Volunteers from Jefferson Airplane, Beckola from Jeff Beck, Ummagumma, which some people say Pink Floyd's best album. I disagree.
Really?
Oh yeah, we
Yeah,
all
yeah.
disagree about that
Who the
one.
hell came up with that one?
I wouldn't know his name, but I won't tell you.
It's not even that good.
No, it's not.
It's horrible.
I wouldn't go horrible, but
It's just not.
It's better than a lot of the stuff that came out in '69. Not on that list, but
Yeah, not on that list, no.
but still one of the weaker Floyds.
I thought so, but if you review it, maybe they're just being contrary. That happens, right? Like
Yeah,
not-
review it, Wheels, next time around.
Yeah, do it. Like not liking the Beatles. Sometimes people are contrary. Deep Purple, first album. Yes. Like all these, The Age of Aquarius, Fifth Dimension, Three Dog Night, first album. Aretha Franklin, Soul 69, Cream, Goodbye album. So my point here is that that's 1 year. That's a lifetime of listening.
Did the Woodstock album come out that year, or did it come
No.
in 70?
70.
70, okay.
And plus the movie. So I'm going to continue this. Let's look at some of the songs, not the albums. Whole Lot of Love, Led Zeppelin. Proud Mary, CCR. I Want You Back, Jackson 5. Honky Tonk Women, Rolling Stones. Bad Moon Rising, CCR. Sweet Judy Blue Eyes. I think it's their best song.
Oh, yeah.
Still snatching, yeah.
Suspicious Minds from Elvis. Gimme Shelter, Rolling Stones. Come Together, Beatles. I Can't Get Next to You with The Temptations. Fortunate Son, CCR. Pinball Wizard, The Who. Dazed and Confused, Led Zeppelin. Evil Ways, Santana. This doesn't stop. Keep getting hit in the head with
after
this.
hit.
Thank you
Yeah.
for letting me be myself. Sly and the Family Stone. You Can't Always Get What You Want, Rolling Stones. Space Oddity, David Bowie. Like, stop it. Sweet Caroline, Neil Diamond. Something by the Beatles. Hot Fun in the Summertime, Sly and the Stones. Heartbreaker, Led Zeppelin. Get Back from the Beatles. Green River, CCR. Here Comes the Sun, Beatles. Thrill Is Gone, it's best song by B.B. King. Spirit in the Sky, great song. One Hit Wonder, Norman Greenbaum. The Boxer, Simon, a Garfunkel. I Wanna Take You Higher, Sly and the Family Stone. Down the Corner, CCR. Venus by Shocking Blue, covered about 10,000 times. Kick Out the Jams, MC5. Whipping Pose, Allman Brothers. Like, and Born in the Bayou, CCR.
And probably the most banned song ever on the French airways, 69 Année Érotique by Serge Gainsbourg.
No, I know. I
Which
didn't
is basically moaning for 3
I
minutes.
know. Now it's nothing. It's like a back rub. But back then, I know. And again, for a rock concert, how about something called Woodstock? It just doesn't stop. Serendipity is the great cosmic wheel spinning and colliding, is the collision of baby boomers with the Vietnam War and the discovery of long playing records as platforms for rebellion. I found a partial answer, at least a possibility, in the song Woodstock, written by Joni Mitchell. Does anything set the tone of the times like this song? I'm going to quote a few verses. I came upon a child of God. He was walking along the road. I asked him, where you going? And this he told me. I'm going down to Yazger's farm. I'm going to join in a rock and roll band. I'm going to camp out in the land. I'm going to try to set my soul free. We are stardust. We are golden. And we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. Then can I walk beside you? I've come here to lose the smog, and I feel to be a cog in something turning. Maybe it's the time of year. Maybe it's the time of man. But I don't know who I am. But you know, life is for learning. By the time we got to Woodstock, we were 500,000 strong, and everywhere there was song and celebration. And I dreamed I saw the bombers riding shotgun in the sky, and they were turning into butterflies above our nation. I mean, does that nail it? Sometimes the only way you can get answers to the big questions is through a kind of a poetry. And that's the way I think of 1969. Somehow some people, some musicians got back to that garden. I'm going to leave the final thoughts to Hunter Thompson, who was there. Quote, San Francisco in the 60s was a very special time and place to be a part of. Maybe it meant something, maybe not. In the long run, but no explanation needed, no mix of words or music or memories can touch the sense of knowing that you were there and alive in that corner of time and the world. Whatever it meant, that sense of inevitable victory over the forces of old and evil. Not in any mean or military sense. We didn't need that. We didn't need that at all. Our energy would simply prevail. There was no point in fighting on our side or theirs. We had all the momentum. We were riding the crest of a high and beautiful wave. So now you can go up a steep hill in Las Vegas and look west. And with the right kind of eyes, you can almost see the high water mark. That place where the wave finally broke and rolled back. Nice.
Earl Bailey on Sirius XM's Classic Vinyl says that Green River in an interview, that's probably John Fogerty's favorite song that he wrote.
Good one. But he's just yelling his little, top off. Green River. It's just great. I mean, it's anyway. That's folk 1969. It's I've gone over the years and nothing compares in my book.
I love a playlist. I can tell that right now.
Yeah, aside from classic rock, where did this come from? It's like, in periods in history, you'll find that paintings and stuff, But 69 was really good for rock and roll.
Welcome to Kennedy's Corner. Following the advice of a behavioral psychologist, Ferris Kennedy has created a forum to express his nightmares, his terror, and his love of rock music. Dr. Clarke and medicated Wheeler help with his therapy by answering questions, or just acting like they're interested.
Considering we are talking about Elvis and he is a solo artist.
Yep.
What I have here for you fine gentlemen, who had a better solo career? That is the topic of the questions that I'm going to be asking you guys today. Okay. This could be based on fact or your personal opinion.
Okay, that's cool.
Fiction could be involved, but we'll see how far that goes. So who am I going to upset first? Well, might as well upset Ian because that's just the way it goes. Ian?
Thank you very much.
Paul McCartney or John Lennon?
Best solo career? Yeah. Well, McCartney had the best solo career. Lennon gave up after 74.
Okay.
Yeah.
That?
Yeah. Okay. It's kind of sad, actually.
George Harrison or Eric Clapton?
Best solo career, Eric Clapton.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Solo career, yeah. Clapton's a god. I think George just wanted to be a farmer or a gardener or something, yeah.
Paul Simon or Art Garfunkel? I got to throw some easy ones.
Yeah, that's a clickbait, that one. I'd say Art Garfunkel. I'm kidding, it's Paul Simon.
Roger Hodgson or Robert Plant?
Robert Plant has an interesting career.
Okay.
Solo career.
Lou Reed or David Johansen?
Lou Reed. Johansen's a novelty act. Yeah.
Or he's known as Buster Poindexter.
Yeah, okay. He's just a novelty
act. Kim Mitchell or Bruce Cockburn?
That's almost local content.
That's bizarre. I'm going to say Mitchell got into broadcasting too. So maybe, I'm going to say I'll go with Bruce, I guess.
Okay. Wow, I didn't think you were going
to. Well, I'm not in love with him, but he's still touring. He's still getting awards, and by the way, he's an amazing acoustic guitar player. Like him or dislike him, he's really good. So.
Burton Cummings or Rondy Bachman?
Wow, that's an interesting one. Solo would be Burton. He had big stuff in the 80s, in the 70s.
John Fogerty or Billy Gibbons?
Wow. Oh, wow. See, that's a difficult one because Fogerty's an oldies act, but he sells out. But he doesn't do a lot of new stuff. Gibbons is more bluesy on his thing. Yeah. More. I'm going to go with John Fogerty, I guess. That's a tough one.
Tom Cochrane or David Crosby?
Okay. I
like when he's got to think.
Yeah. I'm trying to go over the discography in my mind and what they do. I guess Crosby. Yeah.
Okay. Don Henley or Glenn Frey?
They both. I'd say 50-50. In the end, probably Henley in terms of sales.
These guys are kind of similar. So, Andy Kim or Neil Diamond?
Neil Diamond was successful until he got illness, but he was almost successful to the end. So, that's where I'm going with.
Here's a funny one I did. I don't know where I came up with it, but anyways, Graham Nash or Ozzy Osbourne?
Wow.
Oh, I'm going to say Ozzy. Yeah, Ozfest. He just lucked in or something.
Stuart Copeland or Mick Jagger?
That's a good one. That's really clever.
Because they weren't all that great.
No. That's a clever one. I'm gonna go with Copeland because Mick's solo career is horrible.
All right.
It's just horrible.
We won't tell him that, though.
He has enough money. He's okay.
And the last one for you, kind sir, Rod Stewart or Elton John?
Again, it's almost 50-50 in terms of popularity. Obviously, Elton John, but Rod Stewart, he's touring again. He's
Well, they're both touring.
yeah, well,
Yeah, but Elton John never really stopped.
he's supposed to, right?
Yeah.
But he comes like Sinatra. I was kidding with the final thing. I'm back again because I got my visa bill in, and
He has kids. He has to get out of the house or he's going to go nuts.
yeah. You can't shut it off. These guys like Sinatra was touring like 3-4 years before he died.
No, yeah.
And they had to push him out, and he forgot the lyrics of songs he sang for 60 years. And they put the lyrics in front of him, and he read the lyrics. But they guys can't stop.
So you're going with Stewart then?
Yeah.
Because Stewart called out Elton John on his final tour. He
Really?
called him out. Like, so you're not. It's not your final tour. It's like you basically just your call. It's BS. You know,
Really?
you're going to tour again, and he's still going. The final tour I saw was in 2018.
Yeah.
That was his final tour.
I know.
All right. Well,
We're just on the tail end of it.
exactly. Well, yeah, it's going to go for another 10 years. Wheels.
Yes, sir.
Phil Collins or Peter Gabriel?
Oh, Phil Collins.
Okay. Here's an interesting one, and I won't get angry. It's all good. David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar?
Oh, wow. I'd say Sammy Hagar, but seriously, in neither case do I find that their solo career is all that bright.
No, both of them were horrible solo.
Well, yeah, no,
careers.
exactly.
They're not very good.
No.
Yeah.
You're going with Sammy? I probably
yeah.
have to agree with you. Even though I'm a huge David Lee Roth guy, Sammy probably had a little bit more of a better...
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Slash or Joe Perry?
It's an interesting comparison.
To me, it's because Slash can't really do any wrong. Even if it's not an interesting project, he's still interesting.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well put.
Here's an interesting one. Wait, I know where you're going to go. John Bon Jovi or Richie Sambora? Oh, okay. I guess he's thinking.
Well, it's an interesting, but you're trying to think he's done.
Richie did a few things.
Yeah.
John, obviously, is just John.
Well, but that's the thing. Like John, I can't think of him as a solo thing.
But he's done solo stuff.
I know. In terms of quality, John.
John? Okay. Chris Cornell or Eddie Vedder?
Eddie Vedder, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson or Lionel Richie? Because both in the 80s, they were both dominant.
Pretty
Yeah.
huge.
More Michael at one point, but
Yeah, I'd say Michael because I mean I love Lionel. He's still doing it. He's just it never had the same impact.
No, I don't think so.
okay. Ringo Starr or Keith Richards?
I maybe in terms of sale, I would say Ringo because Ringo was the best-selling solo Beatle for the first album.
insane.
I know, it's insane.
Yeah, no, it's just Keith Richards when he does his solo stuff. It's almost I wouldn't say snobby, but it's highfalutin, which is really funny coming from that guy. So yeah,
Well,
Ringo.
I don't even know if it sells.
It does. Because they're reissuing some of the solo stuff he did in the 80s,
Okay.
which they don't do with Ringo. But Ringo's still putting out solo stuff. So
True.
All right. Roger Daltrey or Roger Waters?
Oh, Roger Waters.
Okay. Neil Young or Stephen Stills?
Neil Young. But Neil Young was solo while he was in CSNY.
Yeah,
so-
he was. He was.
Pete Townsend or Duff McKagan?
Ooh.
Because Townsend did some pretty...
He did some
Yeah.
stuff. In the 80s, he got popular again.
Let my love open
Duff.
the door. Duff.
Yeah.
All right.
As a solo artist, yeah.
Prince or Sting?
Prince.
Okay.
Because Sting, it's one of those cases where you can't separate the huge ego from the music to a certain extent. Like you should, but you can't.
Well, Prince was beyond ego. I don't even know.
Prince was like an alien, really.
He was in his own world.
He was.
But he never pretended to be of this world.
No, he didn't.
Bruce Springsteen or Bryan Adams?
Oh, Bryan Adams,
Stephen Page or Ian Thornley?
Stephen Page.
And the last one, Johnny Cash or Stompin' Tom Connors?
I'm trying to think of Stomping Tom Connors as being anything but a solo artist.
Well, so was Johnny Cash.
No, Johnny Cash had eras where you had like a group.
He'd have a band at the beginning,
Yeah.
like an Elvis type
The
band.
Man in Black.
Man in Black.
He was good. I always liked Johnny Cash.
I mean, I'm a Canadian. Tom Connor is not somebody you can avoid, but seriously, Johnny Cash.
All right.
He's just a legend.
And that's what I had. I hope they were not too
weren't too bad.
mind-boggling.
They weren't too bad.
No, I
thank
mean,
you.
you compare to a dentist, 50-50.
That's what I want to hear.
I gotta see my hang on. Thank you. That was great.
So now, what do we got?
I think we're back into a corner in the review. I'm just saying that.
I love these reviews.
Oh, that's what's skipping. It's the vinyl review.
The time has come.
Oh, hello.
The music at night, it sounds bright on Wheeler's turntable. He shines a light, he keeps his vinyl in sight, and gives you his magnificent review. Now here's a clue we have for you. It's time for Wheeler's vinyl review.
So we are in an era that was really interesting musically and for films. So we're in the late 60s, early 70s. There was a cat named Stevens who was really big. So this is 50 years ago. We're leaving the late 60s. Elvis is still alive, but at this point, he ain't doing much. So there is this amazing film that came out called Harold and Maude, made by Al Ashby. That's right. Which was a huge flop when it came out, because frankly, it was maybe a generation too early.
And then there's Maude.
And then there's Maude.
And then there's Maude.
It would become a cult classic, like you wouldn't believe, just a few years later. But you have to admit, the subject matter was really bizarre. It's a suicide-obsessed 19-year-old named Harold, who was played by Bud Cort, who I don't think has ever done anything
Not much.
close remote.
No.
And a cheerful 79-year-old Maude, played by Ruth Gordon.
Oh, yeah. She's around forever.
Still around?
No.
No. And
She
so
goes back in the 40s.
So she this film was so alien in the 70s because it poked fun basically at the straight life, and it was a critique of everything Americans hold dear, but in the late 60s.
Yeah. But
except for the
have you
hippies.
seen it?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. It's
You
amazing.
like it?
Hasn't aged all that well. It is of its time.
That's the way I look. It's an Easy Rider thing. It's of its time.
But musically speaking, it was something else because it's kind of like The Graduate, where you have a soundtrack in the back which sounds like an album. So you had Cat Stevens songs all the way through the movie. And the really weird thing about this is it never came out as a record in the 70s. And the official reason was not to undermine the sales of Cat Stevens records, because some of these songs were on other records. A lot of them were not released.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it took until I think 2007 for a CD of the soundtrack to come out. So it never existed on vinyl. But you could find some of the songs on Mona Bone Jack On and Thief for the Tillerman, which are the really big...
Thief for the Tillerman, yeah.
So what is it about this record that you want to keep in mind? Well, the sound's really good. It's been remastered to sound really crystal clear, and it's Cat Stevens when he was interesting, really. But it's before the late hippie disillusionment songs and before all the political upheaval of his later career. And it's light without being too much like poppy cereals in the morning kind of songs. So this is, if you're looking for something to relive the 70s, I'd say this is a really good album. So
do you have a track listing? Anything on there that?
Not really. I mean,
What's it called?
Harold and Maude.
We'll see what's on there because it sounds. I can understand why they wouldn't want to release it if he had some duplicate songs, off his other albums. But that's just a weird strategy because they always released.
Yeah.
Well, not in the 70s. It wasn't as big.
Well, I guess so. But I mean,
The 80s got
They
big.
got some songs here, so it's Don't Be Shy.
no.
Yeah.
Dialogue 1, I Go to Funerals from Harold and Maude. On the Road to Find Out, I Wish, Tchaikovsky's Concerto No. 1 in B. Dialogue 2, How Many Suicides? It sounds depressing, by the way.
Oh, it is.
Marching Band, Dialogue 3, Harold Meets Maude. Miles from Nowhere, T for the Tillerman.
Yeah.
I Think I See the Light. Dialogue 4, Sunflower. Where Do the Children Play? If You Want to Sing Out, Sing Out. This is Ruth Gordon. Strauss Blue Danube. Dialogue 5, which is Somersaults. If You Want to Sing Out Again. Dialogue 6, Harold Loves Maude. Trouble.
Yeah, I think Trouble was one of those ones that wasn't released on another album.
And then if you want to sing out the ending. Listen, did they really want to fix this? I would have just put B. Arthur in this soundtrack.
What is with you and B. Arthur?
Yeah, I love B. Arthur. She's my favorite Golden Girl. And then there's Maude.
So,
there's Maude.
So I'd say this is a 4 out of 5 record.
Okay.
In terms
4
of
out of
sound.
5, I'll
Yeah.
give it a 2. With the names.
A lot of dialogue, which I can't stand on
It
albums.
drives me nuts.
They really drive you nuts.
So,
Well, thank you.
but as a Cat Steven
aficionado,
retro,
you have to get it.
It sounds depressing, though, to be honest. It's a very depressing album.
The movie, it's not that depressing. It's a depressing subject.
It's
that
black humor. They
Yeah,
used
it's
to
black
call
humor.
it. Hal Ashby. I mean, he did some great stuff. Hal Being There and all those movies. I think he did Shampoo. He directed.
Yeah, he did.
He was
actually.
great.
I know. Wasn't Shampoo Milos Forman?
No, that was he did Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, same time.
Yeah.
And no, but it sounds like it loves a lot of jibber jabber, and I'm not going to listen to. Just give me the songs.
Yeah,
You
you're
know?
right. It's like that intro dialogue of Meatloaf's "Do you promise to give the?"
Oh yeah, I know.
Like,
You promised to shut up. Just get to the song.
Like, yeah, let's just get to the song. Like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not gonna get the double nothing. Okay, I'm giving you niente, nothing. Okay, sing the bloody song, Meatloaf.
So we're done.
Everybody wants to Meatloaf. I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that. Well, you change your name to Meatloaf. Well, what won't you do? I mean, holy God.
Marvin Lee Ede, and they were saying his name was Michael Lee. His name's Marvin.
The late great.
Late great.
So
Wasn't running triathlons, as Ian says.
no, he wasn't missing too many meals either. God bless him.
Named after a Martian.
That's
Oh.
right, Marvin the Martian. Yeah.
Well,
That's
thank you very
That's
much.
Yeah. Well, that was a good review, and I guess it's time for us to say
It's time, gentlemen, please.
farewell.
Adios.
Bye.
See you next time.
Sayonara.